Pizza Hut once tried to laser etch their logo on the moon, and I'm not kidding. And if you think I mean a little projection, no, they wanted to burn their logo into the lunar surface because nothing says 90s marketing like corporate space vandalism. This is an era where brands weren't just competing for ad space, they were fighting for world domination. Companies weren't just advertising, they were trying to outstunt each other. So now at the time they were locked in a marketing war with Domino's, and Domino's was focused on fast delivery. So Pizza Hut doubled down on making a spectacle. They did things like putting their logo on NASCARs, paid Donald Trump millions of dollars to eat their stuffed crust pizza.
It's wrong, isn't it?
But it feels so right.
Then it's a deal?
Yes, we eat our pizza the wrong way.
Crust first.
Introducing stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. With a ring of cheese baked into a totally new, thinner crust, you'll want to eat it the wrong way. Crust first.
May I have the last slice?
Actually, you're only entitled to half.
And now they were ready to put their logo where no brand had gone before, the actual moon. Now nobody thought that Pizza Hut would actually do this, but they did try. Now if at this point you're rolling your eyes and saying, sure, that's just a Reddit rumor, it's actually true. Mike Rawlings, the CEO of Pizza Hut at the time, personally confirmed that they seriously explored this idea. They consulted real scientists to see if it was possible, and the response was technically yes, but the visibility and cost made it completely unrealistic. Now the reason they wanted to do this so badly was because Domino's had the speed advantage, and the idea was if you can't win on logistics, try to win on hype. So now how exactly did they plan to do this? With lasers. Specifically high-powered lasers that could burn the logo into the lunar dust. So in theory it would work like a giant magnifying glass frying an ant, except in this case the ant is the moon, and the magnifying glass is an unhinged marketing department. Now here's where it gets completely insane. The logo would need to be the size of Texas just to be visible from Earth with the naked eye. That's 268,000 square miles of branded real estate. So as ridiculous as it sounds, the real reason it didn't happen isn't because it was dumb. It's because it was wildly illegal. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which actually exists, explicitly bans countries, and by extension corporations, from claiming any of our celestial bodies for commercial use. Now even if that treaty was somehow ignored, the technology to actually do this was so expensive that it made zero financial sense. But that didn't mean Pizza Hut was giving up. Just because the moon was off the table didn't mean spaceships were. In 2000, Pizza Hut paid more than $1 million to put their logo on a Russian Proton rocket, and at first the Pizza Hut logo was very clearly visible, but unfortunately it burned up during re-entry. So technically Pizza Hut did get their logo into space. Why did an American brand have to go through a Russian spacecraft to get into space? Well, that's because NASA wasn't selling ad space at the time. They did want corporate sponsorships for funding, but not on taxpayer-funded rockets. And this gets even more exciting. Pizza Hut became the first company to deliver a pizza to space in 2001. The Pizza Hut pizza was sent on a Russian resupply mission in partnership with Roscosmos, and it was specially engineered for space too. It had extra salt to account for taste changes in microgravity. It also had salami instead of pepperoni because pepperoni doesn't preserve well in space, apparently. Now to make this even more stupid is that even if they could pull it off, the moon doesn't have weather, so the burn marks would just sit there forever. There would literally be a Pizza Hut logo in space for the rest of humanity. Now it gets crazier because we haven't even talked about the space and cola wars of 1985. So Coke and Pepsi were not content with competing on Earth. They wanted to own space. Both of them convinced NASA to let them send specially designed soda cans to space. And technically Coca-Cola's dispenser worked better, but also technically neither of the drinks were enjoyed by the astronauts. Carbonation in space doesn't work that well, and it left astronauts with like this floating foam sludge. And then we have the Taco Bell space stunt. In 2001, Taco Bell turned a deorbiting Soviet space station into an ad. The Russian Mir space station was set to crash into the Pacific Ocean. So Taco Bell put a floating target in the water, and they said that if any piece of Mir hit it, every American would get a free taco. Now, as far as we know, they didn't consult scientists on this, but they did consult insurers because they took out a policy just in case pieces hit the target. Now this is actually genius for marketing because sometimes you don't actually have to do anything, you just have to make people think that you might, and that's enough to get people talking about you. So now the funny thing is that none of these stunts worked the way they were intended to, but that actually made them super successful. Pizza Hut obviously never put their logo in the moon, but just threatening that they might was enough to get people talking about them. And a lot of the best marketing stunts aren't about reality. They're about making people believe something outrageous long enough to talk about it and get you a lot of press.